Hi, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. Today, I am joined by both a tech specialist and soon-to-be TV personality and superstar, Nick Amon, the product specialist for the energy solutions team at Momentum Energy. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks, Rosh. Pleasure to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Mate, you're very welcome. It's great to see you again. We had a lot of fun filming at the Port of Brisbane, which was an amazing setup. I was blown away with the technology those guys have got and have access to, and more so the stuff that you're going to be sharing more about today. So I can't wait to deep dive on that. Nick, before we get into this week's episode, I know my audience loves to know more about the people behind the brand. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your career today, and what led you to join Momentum Energy?
Yeah, sure. So for me, really, I started in the energy sector in 2020, just before COVID hit. In my first corporate role, I worked at the RSCV, started in a position there in their energy team just as a graduate, pretty much straight out of university. Got involved with their solar business, RSCV Solar. Essentially just got brought up to speed on all things electric vehicles, solar, battery, all types of renewable energy, and really just upskilled myself in that area and really built a passion for that work and that industry and the way it was heading in Australia. So I realized that I just want to build a career in this area. As a result of that, I got to the point where I was looking at energy companies and other opportunities out there, and Momentum was naturally a great fit for me and what I wanted to do moving forward. And the role they were advertising for was something I was looking for at the time, so it was just the right time to move across to them 2 years ago, and I did that, and it's been a great business to work for, working with customers who are adopting electric vehicles, who are passionate about solar, battery technology, and it's crazy to see how quickly that technology is developing and more people are taking advantage of it.
Look, I acknowledge you as well for even starting out with RSCV. I mean, it's one of the former sort of legends of our industry, or still is a legend of our industry. Andy McCarthy was there back then, and obviously now has gone on to be an author and doing some amazing things. And really, when I look at my own career, I mean, I started off working in black energy as well in the UK for British Gas, and then my early 2000s for almost every retailer, and from a consulting perspective before transitioning to green in 2007. So I think my options back then were really limited about working with a retailer that really had a focus towards net zero and to a cleaner, green Australia. And which is why I love Momentum Energy so much. Spruiking aside, I mean, really having you guys as a partner for the show is the complete perfect complement to everything that this show is about, because you actually stand for that, and really the solutions and the innovation you come up with is just extraordinary. Nick, before we talk too much more about the TV show, I'm just going to play a little clip. I apologize to anyone who's only listening today. You will be able to hear some music and a few words as well. But this is really for anyone watching today. Here's a quick 30 seconds on what's going to be happening this week on Energy Matters on Saturday, 4 p.m. on 9 Live.
So you've got 800 kilowatts on the roof. That's a ridiculous amount of solar power being produced every single hour, especially here in Queensland. You're using a small amount of that, I imagine, power your own facility throughout the daytime. What happens to the excess?
Well, that's where our virtual solar sharing initiative comes in.
We're able to essentially virtually share that solar between your warehouse and your site in the city. As a result of that, you're effectively able to benefit from that financially.
There you go, Nick. So that was amazing, right? So the place, Port of Brisbane, looks absolutely stunning. Obviously visually spectacular in terms of being in Brizzy for a start on the water. But that solar car park is absolutely incredible. Can you tell me a little bit more about the product being used by the Port of Brisbane on the show?
Yeah, sure. So the product itself is the virtual solar sharing product. Now, we've had this at Momentum for 2.5 years now. It started off as a trial product, and then in the last 18 months, we've worked to develop it into a fully fledged product that we're now ready to scale. And what this product really is it's a state-of-the-art solution that allows our Momentum business customers to put their excess solar energy to good use by virtually sharing that excess solar generation with other sites in their organisation. And these sites can be in the same state, or they can be spread across the national electricity market, which covers Queensland, Victoria, the ACT, New South Wales, and South Australia.
Nick, I'm curious. I mean, how is the solar actually shared?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've said here it's virtually being shared, and that may be confusing for some of our customers what that actually means. But it really, and I'll drill down to the nitty gritty here for any energy nerds listening. It's a great question there, Rosh. But really, the product is powered by some innovative technology, which is the Power Tracer portal. So really, the whole product is enabled by this portal. It's an online customer portal that's operated by our software as a solution partner, Enosi. And what that portal does is essentially consumption at one site. So say it's your non-solar sites within your portfolio. And you've also got your generation site, which is generating that excess solar. The consumption and generation is being matched in 30-minute intervals on this portal. And it's a cloud-based portal. So essentially, through the portal, they're able to extract smart meter data. So it's that data that's coming through the site's smart meters, which is consumption and generation, kilowatt hour data, getting into the nitty gritty, but essentially that's being matched in 30-minute intervals. And as a result of that, what that does is during that 30-minute window, if a customer is exporting excess solar to the grid, like Port of Brisbane were doing at the International Cruise Terminal, during that same 30-minute window, they actually had other sites that were drawing energy from the grid because they're using electricity during the day. And through the power of Power Tracer, that energy is able to be matched between the two sites. And what that is saying that it's being matched, the energy is being shared across that site. And the excess solar generation, essentially, that's being matched with consumption at the other sites. That's what's then used to calculate the virtual solar sharing match electricity price benefit. And that's then tied to as a credit at the importing site, the non-solar site's monthly energy bill. So it's all being shared virtually, not physically here. And the Power Tracer portal is the tool that we use to make it all happen and bring it to life. And it's all just powered by the ability to extract that smart meter data at different sites. And I will go into a quick example, like just to simplify it even more so and explain it clearer, is you could have, say, a business that has a solar system at one of their properties. It's generating a lot more solar energy than it otherwise could use. It could be like a warehouse. Meanwhile, there's other properties that the business may have that can't host solar, like an office or retail store. So the benefit of that excess solar is being shared with those sites that can't host solar. And as a result of that, they're able to offset their energy usage from the grid because that virtual energy is being shared with the other sites. And that energy is being matched at that fixed anytime rate. And that's what's used to calculate a bill credit on the non-solar sites invoice.
Which is absolutely amazing. So I remember back in my early days of selling commercial solar, I'd go to an organisation. It could be like a five-a-side football pitch that's covered up, or sports arena of sorts, and they've got an expansive roof which could easily fit 100 kilowatts of solar power. But but that particular facility's requirement probably was just a fraction of that, purely because it's evenings they're using electricity for. But then they had other facilities inside of their organisation, like other stadiums, for example, or whatever the case might have been, where they were consuming electricity but didn't have enough roof space. So fundamentally, I mean, this solution's ideal. You take advantage of the roof space you have, Doesn't matter
Yes.
what the location or the site is, just take advantage of it. And then using that innovation and that piece of technology, you can then obviously see, well, you're using electricity, you are. So we're just going to virtually share the solar generation from the system, this expansive warehouse into those different sites, and therefore getting the full benefit of solar power, which is amazing because in this sense, you're not actually wasting anything. Like fundamentally, you are really taking advantage of all those kilowatt hours across all your sites.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Rosh. And, there's a lot of multi-site organisations across Australia that have these properties that, for whatever reason, can't host solar. They may want to put solar in there, but unfortunately they can't. But with this product, all you need is one solar generation site. And in that case, it doesn't really matter where it is, as long as it's generating excess solar during the day and your other sites are using using a fair bit of energy during the same 30-minute windows. You've got opportunities to match energy there, and that's where the value is for the customer, really. And there's plenty of scenarios where we've had customers on our product that do have that warehouse, say in the suburbs, or a shopping centre with plenty of roof space, but they couldn't offset their energy usage at the other sites, which for whatever reason couldn't get solar. So through the power of this product, they can do just that, and share that benefit with the other sites, and they'll receive the bill credit as a result of that. And the generation site essentially is, in lieu of receiving the feed-in tariff for whatever that they're sharing with those other sites, it's the other sites that are receiving the financial benefit. So really, the generator NIMI property, it's happy to forego that I guess equivalent of the feed-in tariff to receive a rate that is higher. The rate that's used to calculate the credit is higher than the feed-in tariff credit, which for business customers typically sits between 3 and 5 cents. So that they'll always receive more value there by being on the product.
That's absolutely amazing. So, Nick, the first question that comes to mind is, let's say I'm a business that has an expansive area, and I can, absolutely cover the entire roof space with solar power. Am I able to trade that solar energy with with other businesses on this product?
Yes, yeah, you definitely can, which is great. You can not only be able to share that excess solar within your own business, you can have the ability through this product to share it with another organisation, and trade it all through Power Tracer, which is fantastic. So if a business, say, has another company that they're affiliated with, or that they have a separate arrangement with, say that other company, we've seen typically with our customers that are doing cross-entity trading, the other company can't install solar, but they still want to receive the benefit of it. So what is done here is the customer who will be playing the off-taker, who doesn't necessarily have solar and wants to buy it from the company that does have it, they sign an agreement with Momentum, the virtual solar sharing terms and conditions. They clearly see in that document there what they'll be the value of the matched electricity price, which is what will be used as a credit on their side, and they can see what the other properties are that they'll be buying that excess energy from. And then it's ultimately up to the two businesses to come to a decision on what price they want to buy that energy at or sell that energy at. And that's all done in the Power Tracer portal, where the buyer or the seller can set the trade rules, and they come to an agreement there. And once that's in, it's a set and forget trade rule, and then they can share across the two businesses instantaneously after that. And that's through the power of smart meter data.
I love it. I mean, what's really dropping for me in this conversation, and this is a sense I've got from working with the Momentum over the past few months, in terms of producing the show, is just, everything that you guys seem to work on involves collaboration, and which is really, a profound sort of way of going about business, because it really encourages, community to find ways of achieving net zero, and then working together to achieve that. And fundamentally, I mean, I'd love to be in a business development team, because my head's spinning about all the different opportunities and partnerships that could be forged between parties to actually really take advantage of a product like this. I mean, straight away, what comes to me is dairy farms that fundamentally have huge bills at certain parts of the year, but really have expansive roofs, just acres and acres and acres of land where they could quite easily build a huge solar farm, but they only really need the power for like about 3 or 4 months of the year. And then the rest of the time it's redundant. So if by working together and collaborating with their partners, it could be warehousing, logistics, refrigeration, a variety of different organizations inside of that sort of team, if you like, you could almost just say, look, we'll do the investment and we've got the dough to build a solar farm, but fundamentally for 8 months of the year, we don't need the power. So do you guys obviously want to have an agreement to obviously purchase that excess? It's absolutely genius. I love it. Okay, well, we'll have a chat later and see if Energy Matters conversion business development for you, because it certainly is an incredible product, and I love it.
Sounds good, Ross.
So I guess we've obviously already touched on it, but at the end of the final, what's the kind of financial value I suppose a business can expect to see on virtual solar sharing?
Yeah, so really it's I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it really does depend on the size of the customer's solar system that they have, or multiple if they do have. It's based on how much generation they'll have during those 30-minute windows during the day, and also how much energy is being imported at the other sites. But for standard customers, who, especially those larger business customers that have typically large solar systems and are importing a lot of energy at their other sites, that's a lot of opportunities for them to then match that solar energy, share it across the sites, and then ultimately get quite a valuable bill credit at the end of that billing period. So yeah, it does. There are a few variables at play, but the rate, the fixed anytime rate that is used to calculate that bill credit at the off-taker or the importing NIMI's invoice will be more valuable than the feed-in tariff. So it's higher than the feed-in tariff, meaning that the credit has the ability to be more valuable for the customer, rather than just receiving a standard solar fit. So in Queensland at the moment, the rate is just over 12 cents per kilowatt hour. So for a customer that is even sharing even a small amount of 100, 150 kilowatt hours, 200 kilowatt hours during that 30-day billing period, there's still quite a bit of value there calculated at that rate that they'll receive as a credit. And they'll also receive their standard feed-in tariff as well for anything that's not matched on the virtual solar sharing product. So they're able to dip their toes in both, really, and receive value at both sides of the fence there. So yeah, there's a few variables at play, and it depends on the customer's scenario. But as I mentioned, providing the customer is essentially importing a lot of energy during those solar generation hours, it can really work in the customer's favor by signing up to the product, and really help to reduce their energy costs as a whole. And that's the whole point of this product, is helping customers reduce their energy costs and get more value out of their existing solar system, rather than just sharing that excess solar to the grid for a small feed-in tariff credit.
Amazing. And look, I think we've covered this one off, and it's an obvious question now, because I don't think there is a particular type of customer, but is there a typical type of customer that's more suited to this product?
Well, really, the product is available to commercial and industrial customers, which are large businesses classified by energy retailers. They're eligible for this. They can be located anywhere across the national electricity market. Small to medium businesses as well, we haven't forgotten about them. They are able to join this product as well. But the typical business that's best suited to sign up to Momentum's virtual solar sharing product is a multi-site customer that has more than 4 or 5 sites and at least one generation site. So typically we see most of our customers have 1 or 2 generators, and then they'll have about 6 to 7 off-taker non-solar sites. And by adding more and more off-taker sites, providing that there's plenty of generation and excess solar being generated at those solar sites, that opens up a lot of opportunities for them to share that excess solar across their portfolio, or if they want to sell it to other businesses as well, they always have the option to do that. So yeah, any solar multi-site customer with more than a handful of sites, it makes complete sense to jump over to Momentum and sign up to this product to reduce your energy costs overall.
So for any of you listening or watching and clamoring to like go online right now and Google momentum energy and find out more about solar sharing. And sorry about the wave of interest you're about to get in it. Hopefully there is a huge amount, so I can't really think of any business that wouldn't benefit from it. What's the process? I mean, what should they go through right now? Should they jump into your website? What's the best plan of attack for them?
So yeah, I'd recommend anyone interested in the product to go to our virtual solar sharing webpage. They can read up more about the product, get an understanding of the Enosi Power Tracer portal, how the customer would be set up on that, and they'll have their own unique profile where they can see import and export data across their sites and see how much energy they've shared across their portfolio. Read up all about that, and there's a contact us button on that landing page. It'll take you to the new business email address at Momentum. They'll respond quite quickly to your email, and they'll set up a meeting where they can talk to you about our virtual solar sharing product. We also have a number you can call for small to medium businesses and large businesses. That's on our website as well, where you can speak directly to our sales team if you prefer that method rather than go via email and then they'll contact you. So there's two ways there to get in touch with us. Our sales team will run you through the benefits of our virtual solar sharing product and specifically talk to the value it can bring to your business based on your annual consumption levels and how many sites you have and what your solar system size is. They can run some estimated calculations on what the value will be for you should you sign up to the product. So the team will be doing that, and yeah, if the interest is still there, they'll sign you up very quickly and get you onboarded to Power Tracer so that you can get trading and you can enjoy the benefits of this product.
Absolutely amazing, mate. Well, firstly, thank you so much for your time. Very informative, very educational, and look, I think for anyone listening or watching today, it's definitely worth your while to get in contact with Momentum Energy and to explore this opportunity. We have given you a third option, as always. You can jump onto our website, look onto our TV page. You're going to see this episode, and that's going to be on this Saturday, 4 p.m. on 9 Life. So don't miss it. If you do, it's on Sunday at 8 a.m. as well as another couple of times during the week. But you definitely want to check it out. We'll also create a page on our site which will actually outline the project itself, link you back to some stuff we've created for Momentum, which will kind of talk you through the program at a high level and directly connect you to their website as well and to the relevant page on their site that you make the inquiry from. So, do the exploration yourself, digest the content, watch it on TV, and then make that call, as Nick just said. And look, it's a great product. Nick, thank you so much for your time today. You've been absolutely awesome, mate. And I can't wait to see you on TV on Saturday.
Thanks, Rosh. Really looking forward to it.
No, good, man. All right, thank you.
No worries. Thank you. See ya.
All right, guys. So there you go. So it's going to be an absolute cracker of an episode this Saturday. You do not want to miss it. Saturday, 4 p.m. on 9 Life. It's going to cover a range of topics and projects. Absolutely beautiful, stunning scenery, and none more so than the Port of Brisbane, which is just amazing to be at and visit the International Cruise Terminal itself. Was exciting with it, as it was, but just really to see that solar car park visually was just amazing. If any of you that haven't got solar power as yet, or are now thinking to yourself, this is a really good opportunity to take advantage of that, those open areas that I have by installing a solar car park, or just really taking advantage of that roof, then jump onto our website, energymatters.com.au/free solar quotes. We have a commercial solar section there too, where you can get a quote to have solar panels, potentially even battery storage, depending on your site. And we'll partner you up with up to 3 local installers that can actually quote you. Once you've got the solar power installed, you definitely want to be calling Nick's team and getting virtual solar sharing going, because it sounds like it's an ideal opportunity to take advantage of excess solar at a much higher rate than what you'd ordinarily get through a traditional feed-in tariff. Other than that, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and tune in to the next one. Have a great week.